warmly welcome everyone. We are extremely happy that you've taken this time on a Saturday to talk about these things. And we really look forward to your feedback because this is a very new thing that we are launching. It's new technology-wise, it's new in terms of business model in many ways. And it is a solution that we boldly declare could be a gigatonne solution. This word has become more and more in fashion, but I really think it's important to set a bold vision. And a gigatonne would be a 1/400th of the total carbon budget. And it's an outrageous goal, but we'll show you that it's actually not that outrageous, because it's all about using market forces to get people to use a clean cooking and thereby not using charcoal and firewood. But anyway, I get into the content here, and I mainly want to, first of all, welcome everyone again.
Welcome
for the third time, I think. And also to say that my partner and wife, Marianne.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, Marianne Peterson. Welcome to everybody. So Emerging Cooking Solutions is a company that we started in 2012. It's a Swedish company with three other companies. So we have Zambia, Malawi, Mozambique, but our main place of action is Zambia and has been for the past 10 years. So we make pellets from waste biomass in a factory in Zambia. And then we sell these pellets along with gasifying stoves, tier 4, tier 5 stoves, very high level stoves, to people who use charcoal in Zambia, Malawi, and Mozambique. It's the main thing we do, and also this, which you're going to discover today.
And Peter, what is ICSO and what are you doing?
Oh, hi. Yeah. I'm Peter. I'm from the ICSO Foundation, and we're building basically what we call the Internet of Impact, working on technology solutions to provide protocols and enable companies with positive impact to scale the changes that they're making and actually tokenizing that.
Fantastic. And we've been working together for a year now, quietly building very intently on this solution, which is about to go live very, very soon in a matter of weeks. It's already on testnet, and it's really awesome. So, and this will be a catalyst for the gigatonne project or opportunity. And I should also say that Emerging Cooking Solutions, SupaMoto, same thing, you know, we're trading as SupaMoto, but we work very closely with the other companies in Africa, working with the same type of solution, not just pellets, but also other modern cooking solutions. And we really see this as an initiative for the sector as a whole. If we say SupaMoto, think the sector, because when we have proven that this works and have found the traction, this can easily be scaled up and others can be included, because everyone is needed in this. We are going to do some polls later, and there will also be an ongoing Q&A. So most of you should have a, if not all of you, should have a button somewhere if you want to ask questions as we speak, and we, all of us panelists, will try to answer them as we're going along. So you're welcome to do that. Yeah.
Can I add something? Because I realized I didn't speak about the reason why we created this company is to replace charcoal that is basically being used for cooking. And the reason why we want to replace it is because it's actually extremely destructive to the forest. And it also is incredibly bad for people's health. So that's why we came to Africa. That's why we're here. And it's very damaging to climate change. I mean, it's a huge factor in Africa, climate change.
Yeah, and the problem is on a magnitude that almost no one is aware of, that this is actually larger than larger than the airline industry, the entire airline industry. And that's why it's so much easier to address clean cooking or unclean cooking than to address the whole airline industry. And also, as Marianne mentioned, the health costs trillions of dollars. So I think this is to societies every year. So I think this is a perfect segue to Wella to speak a bit about the problem that we are solving.
Okay, good evening, everyone. So yeah, as mentioned, I'm here to talk about the problem. We offer a solution, but of course, for a solution, it means there's a problem. So as SupaMoto, our ideal customer is the heavy charcoal user. So these are usually in the peri-urban areas. Charcoal is the problem, a problem which most of them do not even know they have, or they actually choose to ignore due to several factors. So I'm going to talk about some of the problems that charcoal causes. So firstly is the cost. So most families in Zambia here, for example, in a month we use about 300 to 450 kwacha, which is about 14 to $21, which is quite a lot for the charcoal users who are in the low to middle income price band. And then these are actually the price I've given for those that are able to buy in bulk. But then we have those people who can't afford to buy a bag. So they buy smaller quantities, costs about 47 cents. And this 47 cents will usually do one quick meal. That means in a month, they're forced to use about $42, which is quite a lot. Another problem with charcoal is the time consumption and also convenience. So, for example, lighting charcoal takes a good 20 minutes, but that's also if you have good charcoal. Charcoal comes from any type of tree. So there are some trees that are bad and some that are good. So minimum of about 20 minutes. It could be worse also if the charcoal is wet. And then there's also the cooking, which takes longer and is also not very convenient because you have to be outdoors, in the cold, or sometimes it's raining, doesn't mean you shouldn't eat. Another thing I'll talk about is the dirt or the blackening that charcoal brings about. So the filth, for example, I mean, if you handle charcoal, your fingers will be dirty, your storage area will be dirty. Usually for charcoal, we fill the brazier and you find your pots also begin to change color. That's also a problem. I'll also talk about the charcoal being unhealthy. Some or most of us already know, inhalation of carbon monoxide. This is very bad for us, especially in long term. It can cause respiratory illnesses or even cancer. And it's even worse if used indoors. I'll also talk about deforestation as a problem, which is also, I think, which is a major problem. Deforestation because of trees that cut down to produce charcoal. This reduces the capacity for forests to become carbon sinks. In short, the trees and plants, of course, we know, absorb the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere as they grow. This is converted into carbon, and then later on, it's stored in the plants, leaves, branches, and the soils. Hence, when we cut down, all this is released into the atmosphere, and then what we are facing today, which is global warming. Yeah, so thank you very much.
Thanks a lot,
Thank you.
Tuela. That's a really good overview there. And Abiola, so what is the solution then? One of the
Good
solutions.
afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Matthias. The reasons Imagine Cooking Solutions came to Africa is to offer a solution, knowing that there is a problem. So why pellets? SupaMoto offers pellets because it's an alternative to charcoal use, because with charcoal, you get into a lot of trouble. But when you buy pellets or when you manufacture pellets, you get all the materials locally. It's so cheap to produce, and then we don't cut down trees, rather we save the trees. In SupaMoto, we're looking at other possibilities of other biomass that can do the same work effectively. Pellets are way cheaper. If you remember, Tuela mentioned the cost implications to poor households when they buy charcoal. But for the pellets, they're so cheap, they're about 50% way cheaper than using charcoal. It's safer for the household. They can cook inside with the gasifier stove that we offer with the use of pellets. Also, it saves the environment. The stoves are so good that they can even heat or warm their home during winter. so they won't go cold in the night. Customers are very happy. Every customer who has been using pellets over the years has sworn to using pellets. Some have packed their gas cookers, electric cookers, because of how cheap it is for them and the safety they experience. And because of our experience over a 10-year period, we've tried various models. At some point, we were able to translate to utility model. The utility model is such that the stoves belong to SupaMoto. All the customer has to do is pay an onboarding fee and then buy pellets consistently every month. If they do not buy the pellets every month, the implication is we can repossess their stove. And then we found that the 30 kg is enough for an average family to cook effectively without getting into trouble at any point in the course of any month. And we work with people who are lead generators in the various communities where we are. These lead generators are some form of influence, have some form of influences in the communities, and they help us locate customers who they know use charcoal heavily so that they can begin to use this. To quote a customer, I remember a customer saying, SupaMoto, very super. That's how happy customers are. And also, they are demanding a lot of these stoves. So having people use the stove is not a problem. Demand is not a problem, but we need a lot of people out there to get more of these stoves to help the market, to help save lives, to conserve the forest, and that way everybody will be happy. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Abiola. So that's a good overview of one of the solutions to the charcoal dilemma. And for new people who come in, we've said that the footprint of unclean cooking is actually on par with or even greater than the entire airline industry. And as we've said, it's actually a lot easier to address than all the flying. And the solution, one of the solutions is to switch how people cook. So I want to move to the next slide and talk a bit about carbon credits, because everyone is familiar with at least the word, but it's a very complex topic. Serious articles in The Guardian about forestry credits recently, and there is actually another very in-depth study from one of the top universities coming out, and I've been helping reviewing that one. It's kind of public now, but it's looking critically at clean cooking. It's important that we get the quality up, and this is what this whole project is about. And the important thing is that carbon credits can really help the whole transition that we're talking about. Because as Abiola said, we have decided to go for high quality stoves, and they are unaffordable to people. But the carbon value that they generate is enough to pay for the stove. So our model as a business is very simple. We make pellets from forestry plantations and waste and other things. We sell the pellets at good enough margins so that we can run the company on it. It's actually very good business, but we need someone to pay for the stove. And this has been our challenge all these years, actually, to work that out. We've realized we cannot charge that to the customer. Part of it is also in the pellet price. We need carbon credits to work for this to work. Reason why we are doing this a bit differently is because it takes about 2 years to get paid from carbon credits. And it's it's a system that makes it very difficult to scale. And it also cuts a lot of new actors out. Carbon credits really is for, we want carbon credits to work for everyone, to be accessible. And one of the key challenges is that most carbon credits lack reliable data, because that is often based on an estimate. And we happen to have two very good sources of data. One is that we know exactly how much pellets everyone buys. And buying pellets is a proxy for using the stove. It's a very, very close proxy, extremely close. And on top of that, we have installed internet connectivity in the stoves. So the stoves are actually IoT, Internet of Things devices. So every stove is connected to internet. And when people are cooking, it's sending data to our platform, to our that we built over the past 3 years. And with that data, we can correlate it with the purchase of the fuel. And we're doing that with 2 external verification entities. So one of them is checking that the actual transaction records, because everyone pays with mobile money. So there is an electronic transaction record, and that is checked that that is correct and that it's of course unique and not reused. So that gives an incredibly high reliability. And on top of that, we have contracted Scalmix, which is a French AI company, and they're using what's called causal AI, which is not a black box AI. It's using first rules-based, checking, for example, if someone all of a sudden will buy 50 bags of pellets, it would not pass through the rules. And then it's using inference to make sure that there is a very high, what they call probability score. And there are others in the exosphere who can talk better about this. But the basic principle is that we go to incredibly great lengths to ensure that we can be certain that the stove has been used. And out comes carbon credits on the IXO blockchain that can then be monetized. And this is really why we have this webinar, because we don't know how to really market this new product. We need your advice, your help to find the right product market fit. First of all, who is really our target group? And after Peter's demo soon, I think we will see that more, and we're going to open up for questions soon also. We'll also ask you a question, Harry. I see you've put it in the chat there. I think we can move to your demo, Peter, because I think that will, now we're really moving into the meat of the matter. We've talked about the problem, the solution, but really what have we been doing, and what have we been doing the past year, and all these thousands of hours of development time. So yeah, please, Peter.
Yeah, so what we've been working on is what we call the digital twin of a real world cookstove. So basically what we do is that we can issue a digital twin of the real world cookstove that allows the owner of the SupaMoto Nifty, how we call it, to self-issue carbon credits based on the performance of the cookstove. So for example, this cookstove is owned by a household, and this household makes payment, they use pellets, and on top of that, we get the real-time cooking data. And all this data gets processed by the Scalmix AI, and claims get actually automatically verified. The user can mint his own carbon credits, which represent exact CO2 savings. You can get more accurate carbon credits on the market, I think, because that's the first real use case where this system is used based on real hard data. Okay, so now we have the tokenization. What can you do with those tokens? Those tokens are different than the traditional carbon credits in that sense that, first of all, they get issued in batches. So for example, if I get data from one cookstove and I issue those carbon credits, I can trace back from the on-chain data. We're talking about data that can't be manipulated. I can trace back to the exact source of the carbon credits. I can see the usage, I can see the location, I can see the manufacturing certificate, basically everything. So no guessing here. One carbon credit, for example, could represent 1 kilogram of CO2 saved. And then what can I do with those carbon credits? You can transact with them like with any other crypto asset. You can send them around, or you can offset your own carbon footprint. Some tech-savvy people, I think, would love to have a SupaMoto Nifty, but other people probably just want to offset their carbon footprint, and that's it. And there's also an option for a company. It could buy quality carbon credits directly. So if you imagine that this is like a widget, for example, the SupaMoto website. So that allows for anyone who visits the website to simply log in here. He puts his email in here, and then he gets a confirmation link to his email. And we're actually creating a crypto account in the background that is tied to his email. So the user doesn't have to do any crypto stuff. the wallet gets created, the account gets created in the background. He can just, for example, offset his flight, or he can set maybe a personal annual goal, how much he wants to offset each year. He can go through a questionnaire, or he can just set it manually here. Okay, I want to, for example, 7,000 kilos of CO2, I want to offset it yearly. And now I can, anytime I want to offset some carbon, I can simply type in how much I want to offset. And I have different options. I can either pay direct with a credit card, I could use crypto if I want to, or in the case of companies, for example, they could give out vouchers for their employees, which would offset their carbon. But let's say that I just pay with a credit card. Okay, I pay. Okay, I successfully offset 2,200 kilo CO2. And then here's the special part. So I can see the offset certificate. And here I can trace back all the carbon that I've used for that offset. So for example, 1,000 carbon was used from this project. I can see, okay, it was generated by SupaMoto. I can see more about this company. I can go back, I can see the location where the carbon credits were created. I can see the underlying tech, the underlying cooking data, basically the sessions that were used, the fuel that was purchased, and I can see the cryptographic proof if I want to. Okay, so now I see that I've made this offset, and I see that I've covered, for example, 28% of my annual goal. Important part here is that because in the background, tied to my email, an account, a crypto account was made. Every time I log in with my email, this data saved to my account. So I could also log into my app with the same email, and all this data would go with it. Yeah, so that will be like the simple version. So here I don't have to own any Nifty, but I just buy the carbon credits. The second option for a more experienced user, or for someone who wants to play around with the tech, is to download the Impact Wallet login. So that would be my dashboard, for example. And then if I own a SupaMoto Nifty, then I could see in real time. So here, for example, I own a bunch of SupaMoto Nifties that generate carbon in real time. I can check out how this one's doing. Okay, I see there have been some new cooking sessions. I can check, there's been a new fuel purchase. Check out something about the household where the SupaMoto is used. Check some information, but the most important part, I can claim my carbon credits. So I've done that. And then when I go back to the app, I see that the carbon credits get transferred directly to my account. So now I have this in my wallet. And what can I do with this? I can send it around. I can, in the future, swap it also. Now I want to offset it, for example, so I can do my offsets from my wallet directly. I can choose how much I want to offset. Okay, I have to sign because it's a cryptographic transaction. I can also see how much of that be in my annual goal. Yeah, and then this updates. So that would cover 2 use cases. There can be more, so there's just the beginning.
Fantastic, Peter. Thanks a lot. And
Yeah.
and maybe also just to say that, of course, we need to get to a place where carbon credits don't exist. There's no need for them, because we need to have a world which is running on clean electricity and so on.
Yeah.
But what we see in Zambia, we've lived here 10 years now. We see big, beautiful hardwood trees being cut down with axes to make chunks of dead trees, charcoal, and cooked on every day. And it's not the user's fault. It's because that's the only alternative until now. And carbon credit helps us, again, get a stove without customers paying anything for the stove. We help, carbon credits help us getting the stove into the hands of people, and then they will buy pellets so we can run the company. This is really the whole idea. And these 3 use cases is about how do we facilitate that. So basically, of course, buying an NFT, or actually pre-buying, I should say, because on supamoto.emerging.se, you can pre-buy now. It's $150 for 1 year access. So that's live now. That's possible. But also, of course, now the feedback session. And then afterwards, if anyone is interested in getting engaged with us in some way, just let us know. You can use email or LinkedIn. Okay, great. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll send the recording. Okay, I think we've seen everything. Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.